Hello everyone, and welcome back. For more than 70 years, the United States has returned again and again to one dangerous idea, that if a government in the Middle East is hostile or brutal, the solution is simple. Remove it, replace it, start over. The promise is always attractive: install a better government, promote democracy, and protect interests. But the historical record tells a different story. From Iran in 1953 to Iraq in 2003, US regime change efforts have repeatedly produced the opposite. Instead of stability, they created chaos. This is the central argument of Philip Gordon's book, Losing the Long Game. Gordon warns that the question isn't whether these regimes were good, but whether removing them made things better. Regime change is tempting because it offers a shortcut. Washington assumes military strength makes the task easy. Often, the first phase is easy. The capital falls, the dictator flees. But this is where the illusion begins. Destroying a regime is not building a state. Removing a ruler is not creating legitimacy. When an outside power destroys the old order, suppressed factions emerge and extremist groups exploit the vacuum. The first victory becomes the beginning of a long defeat. Many Middle Eastern states were shaped by colonial borders and sectarian divisions. Dictators often held these complex societies together through fear. When the dictator is removed, the army collapses and hidden conflicts come into the open. Minority groups fear revenge and majority groups compete for total control. The outside power must then choose: occupy the country for decades or watch it fragment. The US has usually wanted the benefits without the real cost of long-term reconstruction. The modern story began in 1953 Iran, where the US helped overthrow Prime Minister Mossadegh. It looked like a success until 1979, when the resulting resentment fueled an Islamic revolution that remains a determined regional adversary. Afghanistan shows a similar pattern. Arming the Mujahideen to fight Soviets eventually led to the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. After 9/11, the US returned for a 20-year war that cost trillions, only for the state to collapse and the Taliban to return. The long game was lost. Trillions of dollars and enormous human costs resulted in a political outcome that looked painfully close to where it began. This is the recurring tragedy of regime change. Iraq 2003 is the clearest example. The US removed Saddam Hussein but destroyed the entire state structure. Disbanding the army created a massive pool of armed unemployed men who joined the insurgency. Sectarian violence exploded, and the Islamic State rose from the ruins of the post-invasion order. The US could destroy the regime, but it could not control the forces released by its destruction. It replaced a dictator with civil war. Libya 2011 began as a humanitarian mission but drifted into regime change. Without institutions to replace Gaddafi, the country collapsed into militia war, spreading instability across borders. Syria was a different tragedy, the disaster of half measures. By calling for Assad to leave but not using the force to remove him, Washington fueled a prolonged civil war and a massive humanitarian disaster. The result was a vacuum that empowered extremists and regional rivals. The iron rule of regime change is that outsiders underestimate local nationalism and the difficulty of building institutions. They overestimate their ability to redesign societies from the outside. Legitimacy cannot be imported. Political order cannot be created through destruction alone. A dictator can be overthrown in weeks, but a state may take generations to build. A society cannot be remade from the outside. The lesson of the last 70 years is not isolationism, but restraint. Use diplomacy, containment, and deterrence. Do not imagine that another society can be rewritten by removing one leader. The costs are too high. The unintended consequences are too predictable. In the Middle East, the US has tried the shortcut again and again. And again and again, it has lost the long game. We must learn from the historical record. If you found this analysis helpful, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into history and policy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.